My name's fucking Audrey, kid. Red Jeeps are sexy. And you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
Howdy, boys and girls. It's the XJ Talk Show. We're going to be getting going here in a few minutes. Josh has already joined us, and take him off mute now. Didn't want him chattering just as I was starting up the audio.
I'm here.
And I always seem to have the music too loud for us to hear Josh. There we go.
There we go. And for some reason, one second. Okay. Current is uploading. Sorry for the delay on that.
Oh, it's okay. So we are the pictures that you sent will not be in any particular order.
Okay.
So I would not. It would be difficult anyway for you to try to talk about them unless you were showing them. That way you could see what it was and then comment on it. But they would have to be put in an order, the order that you wanted to tell the story, which I don't think they're in that order.
No, but they're labeled sort of in the sense that you could kind of pick up what I'm talking about and see which ones. I mean, it would take me but a minute or two to put them in a particular order.
Well, I'm going to be talking to you, so I'm not going to be spending a lot of time identifying images and stuff. That's why I say if it was on your side, then you could call them up as you were, but you'd still have to sit down and plan what you were going to say. So I think just having something to see. In other words, I'm just telling you that I wouldn't try to keep up with the pictures. I would just tell your story, and people can put it together as they. Well, Josh was talking about this. Now I see what he was talking about. That type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'd have to spend a good 30 minutes to an hour getting it right.
I could just put a chronological order.
Okay. Well, it's 6 minutes till showtime, and I already got it loaded up. I just selected the entire directory, and it sucked it in.
Oh, okay. So if I just labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that wouldn't help you?
I have no idea. First time I've ever used this feature.
Interesting.
Go back to that 30-minute to an hour thing I was commenting on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get things closed up in here.
Okay.
I am wearing a dirty hat tonight. One that I got all sweaty, a dirty XJ Talk hat.
Oh.
Let me see. I think before we get into your interview, we'll do the voicemails, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the lights, the LED lights on my rig. Where's that video? Still can't believe Tom plays all those instruments and mixes them all together.
That's talent, that's for sure.
Yep. He's one of those artists, that's for sure, because I asked him if he could do me an opener for the show, and he actually would have to get a feel for the show before he could actually do one. But this is one he just, I guess, had in him. Put it together for me. Let's see, I think this is it. No, that's not it. There it is. And let's see if this actually works. Let's see if we adjust that audio a bit. There we go. It's a short video. I think you've seen it.
You with the lights driving down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I commented on that. Looks like a spaceship coming in for a landing.
I think I told you, somebody on Facebook said when deer see that much lights, they just wait to be anally probed.
Yeah.
And my comment was, well, as long as it's just the deer.
Yeah, right.
Oh my. That was the Queen of England impersonation.
Spot on.
Oh, there it is. There, and there. Okay, we're going to start with that one, that disclaimer. And all right. So we'll just do a free form interview after we do the opener. There will be no what's this week in Jeep or anything. I or we can explain that in the opener.
Okay.
I think it'll be, like I said the other day, I think it'll be a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
For the audience. I know it's hard for us because we're used to preparing for days prior to a show, and just throwing something together at the last minute is just kind of grates against our DNA. I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, no, I was picking up what you were laying down.
Yeah, I was telling everybody else. My girlfriend is Morgan Fairchild. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Okay, I just got to rename just another 4 or 5 pictures here.
Oh, there's a problem with that because it's in the list with the names, where they are in Dropbox. And if you're changing names, then that means it's not going to play from the list.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got one picture. 6, 7, 8, 9. Same picture, same picture. Oh, there it changed. Really good scenery pictures.
That's all taken with my phone, by the way.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So,
those all, I just put them in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chronological order.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't. That's why I was saying we didn't want to do that. It causes problems with how I already had it set up. So don't touch it.
I'm not touching it
because I got to delete this and then re-add it. Now, what the hell did I do? Let's see, is it images? No. Photos. Okay, well, it remembered the folder. That's good. Loading photos. Where did it go? Okay. So there's a total of 46 photographs. I'll be, I don't know why it's not cycling through them, but I'll be clicking on the little button manually to move to the next image. So you'll have no idea what image I'm on.
Okay.
So I'll just be cycling through them and then restart, when we get to the end. Because I would imagine with 46 pictures, we'll be able to go through that several times during the interview. Of course, I'll probably get interested in what we're talking about and forget to go to the next one. And you won't see the picture for 30 seconds.
Right.
That's why I say if it was, if you were doing the slideshow and then you could go through them, then you could talk about it or find the one you were talking about if it was out of order or something. But it's really not conducive to the way we are with this long delay. I might be able to do video back to you once I bump up the upload speed.
Mm.
And then that would take care of it because then it would only be a very slight delay. Alrighty then. Let's see.
Did we want to do a live read for Audible?
No, I think we can skip most of the stuff. I just want to do get the voicemails in there. People are nice enough to call them in. I want to get them on the show, and thought we'd talk a little bit about the 44-inch light bar that I put on there, and how much current that they're all going to pull, and I'll try to make that pretty quick, so we can get into all that is carnage up on Meatball Hill, wherever it was that you went.
Meatball Hill.
Oh, and let's see. There was I've only got 6A up for the opener. See if the other one is there.
Yeah, it should be 7A.
I was going to say 7A. Excellent choice. It's a very good year.
And honestly, I can't remember which that one is.
It's always fun for me to hear it for the first time, or the second time, and see if I remember it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. I think I would have started cycling them along long before now. All right. Well, since this is going to be pretty free flowing, I think we can get going. I'm going to do the disclaimer, and then we'll roll the music. The same old thing. Don't worry about the Audible deal tonight, and we'll just chat it up and explain what we're going to do on the show, and also forego the Amazon you bought what thing that we would normally be doing this week.
Right.
We might want to if you want to go through your spiel about what the short spiel anyway about what the Amazon thing is, and tune in next week.
Okay,
that would be good. And and then maybe give me an intro as far as the talking about all the damn LEDs I got on my what used to be an off-road vehicle, and now is a Vegas Strip show vehicle.
Yeah.
Or something, whatever, something along those lines, whatever you come up with. And I'll show the picture that I took this evening. I went out there and adjusted the light bar a little bit, because I think it didn't look like it, but I think from the video it looked like it was aimed down a little too much. They may have it designed that way that it reflects down instead of up and out. So, ready if you are.
Indeedy.
The XJ Talk Show is for entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information provided on this show should be verified by alternative sources prior to making any changes or modifications to your vehicle. We are not experts, just people that enjoy the Jeep hobby and don't mind talking endlessly about it. P.S. We love you.
And now, breaking news from the XJ Talk Show news desk. This week, no intro. We now return you to the regularly scheduled program.
Yes.
You already know about
Yes, you do.
Welcome to the XJ Talk Show. You are listening to the Jeep Cherokee Premier Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Tony and Josh. Take it away, boys.
Yes, indeedy. It's episode 139, and we're going to be doing something kind of special tonight. You know me as Tony, or Mutteroy, on xjtalk.com, and here's my co-host. What was your name again, sir?
Yosh, sometimes. But you guys know me as Northwest 99XJ or NW99XJ over at xjtalk.com. And as Tony said, we got a little something different for you guys tonight. I think you guys are going to enjoy this.
Yeah, Josh went on a wheeling trip this past weekend, and so much happened prior to the wheeling trip during the wheeling trip that we thought that would be a great opportunity to change things up a little bit in the stream of the shows, if you will, and talk a little bit, to basically do a Yash interview of what all he went through this weekend, getting ready and then going and then getting back. So I don't want to give too much of it away. So no Amazon You Bought What tonight, but we'll be doing that next week. And if you don't know what that is, Josh is going to tell you about it right now.
Yep, guys, we have a great relationship with Amazon.com, and we highly encourage you guys to, well, support your favorite off-road podcast, the XJ Talk Show, by heading over to xjtalk.com or xjtalkshow.com and finding the Amazon banner right there on the main page. You click on that, it takes you right over to Amazon.com, where you can buy any old little thingamajig you want, including Jeep parts if you'd like. And Amazon's agreed to give us a small little kickback out of that purchase. You guys don't pay a red cent more, not a single dime more. But Amazon gives us a little kickback, and they give us a list of things that have that have been bought in, and we have some fun with that list, as you guys have heard in prior shows. So normally this would be the week that we would do that. We're going to reserve that for next week. So in the meantime, keep up that shopping, and we thank you guys for your support.
Absolutely. It's always fun to read through those Amazon You Bought What items, too. You never know what you're going to find. It's a virtual potpourri.
Like a box of chocolates.
Well, I've been having some fun with my Jeep, and not off road.
Yeah, I've been seeing some posts. I've been seeing some videos. You've been active. You've been doing some mounting and some wiring. What the heck is with these runway lights that you've been putting on your Jeep?
Well, I am close to an airport, and if there was ever a power outage, I'd be able to roll out there, and not the big jumbo jets or anything, but the small airplanes, the twins. I think that runway is probably long enough for a small jet, but I'll be able to roll out there and guide them in.
Don't sell yourself short, Tony. From the videos that I've seen, you could see that Jeep from space.
Well, I was adjusting the light bar today, and well, here's a picture. Josh, cover your eyes. Here's a picture of the little Jeep, and boy, has it changed from the early days when we brought it home with 19 miles on it, and it's been a fun adventure. This is a picture that I took about 7:30 this evening, so the sun was still very much up, and you can see that these lights are very much bright. So my daughter and I actually went out and did a little test of these lights. Now, they weren't adjusted. That's what I was doing today. I was adjusting these things because they seem to have built them kind of pointing down a little bit, which is good. You know, that way you can mount them perpendicular to the vehicle and still get the light where it needs to go. But I had them angled down a little bit, so I think that's why this I didn't get quite the distance in the light. But anyway, let's look at this video that I did real quick. It's up on YouTube. You can hear the noise of the Jeep there. So that's the 7-inch lights that I just turned on. Here comes the 20. That's the 20-inch. And then the 44-inch that I just put on a couple of weekends ago. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
That's exactly what my daughter said.
If you guys don't know, just listen to the podcast. What Tony did is he kicked his daughter out of the Jeep and put her on the side of the road, and he drove back a ways. And then you're hearing some difference in audio, some in cab audio, and then it kind of goes silent, and you hear the crickets and stuff like that. You're actually seeing a snapshot going back and forth between when he's turning on the lights in the cab, and then smash cut to the outside view and back and forth like that. So you really get a good comparison, not only from inside the Jeep, but also from outside the Jeep coming at you, which I'm surprised didn't completely shut down the optics of the camera, because it is so dang bright.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I don't know how about you guys, but from just a very little age, I had this affinity for wristwatches, Timex specifically, and just loved to have me a nice new wristwatch and a flashlight. And the brighter the flashlight, the more I loved it. And I'm telling you, I'm loving it now because I have one of the brightest flashlights So it was pretty funny. I after I did that video, I put it up on Twitter, and I to entice people to watch it, I said, "Ever seen what 46,500 lumens looks like?"
Oh, wow.
And oh gee, I'm forgetting his name right now. His first name is Phil. Phil in the UK has a 300 watt 50-inch LED light bar on his, along with some LED headlights, and he's put up some videos. And he says, "No, but I have seen 50,000 and 500 lumens." And so my response to him was, "Phil, I'm not talking to you then, am I?"
Yeah.
So we had some fun there on Twitter, and got that video up. So Josh did a great job explaining what the video looked like. But take a few moments to go over to YouTube. Not right now. Stay here with the show. But jump over to youtube.com/xjtalk and see the video yourself. It's nice and short, 50 seconds long, and you kind of get a feel for it. I'll be making another one because, like I said, I adjusted those lights. Now, Josh, what in the world are we going to be talking about tonight? I mean, what? I don't want to get into it too much, but what's going on? Why is this thing so special that we're going to forego the entire format of the show to talk about what Josh did off-road?
Well, look, I mean, first off, I'm nothing special, but no, this is an annual wheeling trip that I participate in every year. I look forward to it every year. This year, I was a week off on my dates. I thought I had another week to prepare for this, and the weekend before, I think it was like the Monday or Tuesday before, I found out that oh no, indeed, it is going to be this weekend, and that was the weekend of the what is that, the 19th? The 19th and the 20th. And so I was completely unprepared. I thought I had another week. I was planning on the weekend of the event, actually doing all the work that I needed to do. I just did some tidying up some last minute things, and one of the things was the new bushings in my leaf springs, and that was really the major thing that I needed to get done. And I first, before I go any further, I got to give a big shout out and a huge thanks to 92 War Wagon. Wes, he's a local Jeeper to me. He's helped me out before. I've helped him out before. He's a fan of the show. He's a big supporter of the show as well. Loves the site, and I just can't give him enough props for coming over and not only lending some moral support, but also a third hand when I definitely needed it. And I couldn't have probably done this without him. So big thanks to Wes for helping me out there. So these leaf spring bushings.
Should we go ahead and start the photos now?
Yeah, go ahead and start the photos. We got some photos I'm going to share with you guys. Just some stuff I kind of took. And I took a lot of pictures. I took a lot of video, and I've even had some videos up on YouTube. You could probably find those just by going to finding one of my YouTube channels, JB Chill 1. That's JBCHILL and the number 1. And we'll go ahead and link those up in the show notes afterwards. I got some just a couple of videos with the GoPro and stuff like that I can share with you guys. Probably not going to see those during the show, but the pictures we'll go ahead and we'll post up kind of like a slideshow for you guys who are viewing the live show. And for you podcast viewers, make sure you head over to our xjtalk.com YouTube channel. Check out the show, and you can actually kind of listen to the podcast and see some pictures and play along, as it were.
So what we're looking at here is, it looks like you already got the bushing out of.
No, actually, I didn't. That is
oh
the
my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a necessary repair that I needed to do. The shackles were actually bouncing around inside of the leaf spring eye, and it had been clunking around for the last few wheeling trips. And it wasn't until I think the last wheeling trip that I really nailed it down to what it was, isolated the sound to what it was, and it was the leaf spring bushing was completely shot. Now, these are the Pro Comp 3-inch leaf springs. And I picked these up, many, many years ago, and they've actually done quite well for me, over the years. And, over the years, they've.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many years would you say it took to get them this way?
Oh, I'm going to say 4 or 5. Yeah, a good 5 years.
And you've probably been wheeling.
Oh, lots.
24 times, 36 times in that amount of time, because you go quite often.
Yeah, I'm gonna say anywhere between 25 and 35 times. over those years. I go several times a year. It's not just logging roads. It's not just backcountry stuff.
Yeah, no,
guys,
you go rocks.
I wheel, and I don't like the mud too much, but it's mountainous, dirt, lots of rock, steep trails, lots of elevation change and whatnot. But these things have held up, honestly, fairly well through the abuse that they've had to go through. Not to mention that, but they've also been my daily driver for a long, long time. Out of those 5 years or so, a good 3+ years of those were daily driving. And, that was anywhere from 60 to 80 miles a day that these things were getting abused through. And then, adding the wheeling on top of that. So I'm not surprised that they wore out. I mean, it's rubber with a metal sleeve in the middle of it, and the whole thing is encased in another metal sleeve. So it's a rubber metal sandwich basically, and they're pressed into the leaf spring eye itself. Well, I was thinking that it was just going to be a simple matter of pressing these things out, but not so much. It was actually quite the ordeal to get these things out, and in fact, just the one, and there was one that was worse than the other. It was the passenger side that really took the brunt of the abuse, and that's from the Jeep torque. As you accelerate, it's just a matter of which way the gears turn and how the torque is applied to the rear axle. That the Jeep wants to sag down to the passenger side as you accelerate, and that's the leaf spring that's going to take the most abuse. And that leaf spring eye bushing obviously is what really took the toll.
So what are we seeing in the second picture? It looks like you've got a sleeve inside there. I don't think this is. I don't think you've taken it out yet.
No, that is basically the stock sleeve. You can just pull that in and out. Now the rubber is still fused to the outer shell, which is pressed into the leaf spring bushing, but that inner sleeve literally could just be pulled out with your finger. Yeah. And that's what the bolt that goes through the shackle, through the leaf spring, that's what the bolt sits through in that. And that's just sitting there and rattling around. And there's really only rubber from about, if you're looking at a face of a clock, there's really only rubber from about, 7 or 8 o'clock back down to about 5 o'clock.
So I guess it's a trade-off. You can have something that's soft and give you a better ride, or you can have something that's hard and it won't lose its shape over time, but it's going to be a rougher ride. So I'm sure that's what happened here. That was a combination of form and functionality, if you will. But maybe I'm jumping ahead here. Did you go back with the same type of bushing?
Yes, and here's why, is because I wasn't sure. I could have ordered some polyurethane bushings, but I wasn't sure exactly if they were going to fit, for one. If they were going to work right. I've got some polyurethane elsewhere in the Jeep, but I wanted to make sure that I was getting something that I knew 100% that was going to work no matter what. And so I went with a direct replacement from ProComp.
Yeah. You knew what to expect. That was a long time too.
Yep, exactly. So, called up my local 4-wheel parts, and Tom here at the Portland, Oregon 4-wheel parts store really came through for me. They don't stock these things. Now, of course, they're a ProComp authorized dealer. So it was just a matter of calling up ProComp and saying, hey, we need a set of these. And they actually drop shipped them, got them to the store overnight, and I got them the next day. So way cool on that. But the thing is these things were such a pain in the butt to get out. Over 5 hours to get one bushing out of the leaf spring.
Gosh.
I thought, okay, get some PB Blaster in there, get my press tool up in there, and start going to work and trying to get these things pressed out. Was that enough? No, certainly not.
So I'm looking at the picture with the big ass C clamp, as I call it, and I'm assuming that didn't budge it hardly at all.
No, it really didn't. In fact, I was torquing on that thing so hard that I was worried that I was going to break the leaf spring or break the C clamp itself. And this is, folks, the C clamp that you're seeing in the picture. This is it's a Harbor Freight 4-wheel drive ball joint service tool is its official name. But I've used it for every U-joint that I've ever done on my Jeep and friends' Jeeps. It's probably one of the most handy tools for working on your Jeep as far as pressing things in and out. So long as you've got the leverage, that thing will hold up, and it's certainly done very, very well for me over the years. Now, the press played an integral part, but really on the passenger side, things were so bad. It took hitting it with a chisel. I got in there with a saw at one point and actually cut the sleeve to try and get things to be, bent out and everything. And Tony, if you go to the next slide, you guys can actually see, just how much internal carnage I had to go through to get this bushing to actually move and budge. And
I think I would have been going, what's holding it in?
Seriously. I mean, it was fused in there, absolutely fused in there. And so those of you who have, had to go through a shackle replacement, or trying to get out the old leaf spring bushings, you guys know what I'm talking about. The metal just fuses to the metal of the bushing, the outer metal sleeve of the bushing fuses to the leaf spring. And that's what you see in this next picture is I had to, cut this thing, get in there with, and I actually broke two different screwdrivers, trying to, get little bits pried out. I had a cold chisel in there that I was using to hammer through it as well. I mean, just with a BFH and literally 4+ hours of just banging away at this. And it finally started to budge, but not before I had to basically cut the thing in half, start folding it in on itself.
I bet you were very happy at that moment where you look at it, you kind of blink. Did it really move? Yes, exactly. It's moving.
I was cranking, hammering on it, and then, okay, well, we got it to move, kind of bend in on itself a little bit. Let's see if we can't get the press tool back in there and get some action with the press. And you hear the big, kunk, as it kind of releases a little bit, and you break that bond between the two layers of metal. And it was like, oh, did something just break or did it move? And so you're, coming around to the other side looking, oh, we got movement, and finally, so that's the light at the end of the tunnel almost at that point. And finally, after so many hours and, just a dead arm of, with that, big sledgehammer, just banging away at that thing, did it finally come out? And we're able to, I cleaned up the race, filed away the burrs that were created there. I got in there with a good bastard file and cleaned things up. A little shot of grease in there on both the outside of the bushing and of course in the leaf spring. And then with my press tool, pressed in the new bushing, and it just popped right in.
I'm looking at the metal sleeve that out with next to the new one, and you can see that looks like somebody dropped a turd on the ground. It looks bad.
It was bad. I mean, just what I had to go through and what that thing had to go through to actually come out. Obviously nothing could have been, used out of that again. And you guys see here during the live show, we show this. I actually, finally have a comparison of the old versus the new. And you see it is just, now there is no seam. When these things come out, there's no seam on these. I actually had to create a seam by cutting it and by chiseling it in half. To get it to fold in on itself and get enough, tension released before it would actually pop out. And finally it did.
If you calculate how much money you make an hour, in other words, what your time is worth to you, and just replacing these bushings, what it would have cost in relation to the time and effort and parts, as opposed to just putting new leaf springs on. And saying,
and the thought, honestly, Tony, after 2 or 3 hours, the thought had crossed my mind, screw it. I'm just going to go down and go buy some new leaf springs.
Yeah.
At this point, I was just like, well, this isn't coming out. I need something. I'm just going to go buy some new leaf springs. And it was, no, don't give up. We'll just keep at it for a little while. Let's do some math here really quick. I got a little calculator here in front of me. I mean, average shop rates right now are about $80 an hour, give or take.
Yeah.
$80 an hour. Here times 5 hours, that's $400 right there, not including the $40 in parts, but that's just for one person. So if you got two people at $80 an hour, times, we're looking at $1,000 here for a leaf spring bushing, and that was just one. So
well, you had never done this before, so you did not know what to expect.
Right. Well, I mean, I knew what I was doing. I just didn't know what to expect out of these.
Well, and that's just it. You never know when you go to work on something how long it's going to take. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. It's always a learning experience, and it's a very big relief when everything goes the way you think it was supposed to. So. Oh
yeah, which rarely. Honestly, I think I can count on one hand how many out of all the modifications and tinkerings that I've done on my Jeep. How many have actually gone according to plan, have gone smoothly without a hitch or a hiccup or, a foobar or something breaking or something like that. So, And of course, as it goes with my Jeep and many others, as far as many of our listeners will know, you work on a Jeep, something oftentimes will not go according to plan. So, you gotta prepare, you gotta have some time. And I was short on time.
Yeah.
And so I started early in the morning, and we were well into the afternoon by this point, getting the one out and getting the other one in. Wes had to take off. He had some family stuff he had to take care of. So I went around to the other side on the passenger side, got that one knocked out relatively easily. I did that one all with just a press tool. It came, pressed out, and the new one pressed in relatively easy. And I was on to the next thing.
Well, here's the shot of the new one pressed in there, and it looks like that's where it belongs. It's home. That's exactly. It went home. It was interested in being home. Now it's home, and man, it looks a hell of a lot better than the other one did.
Now, I'm going to give you guys a tip. Working on leaf springs by yourself can be a chore. Obviously, you're dealing with spring steel. You're dealing with something that has a large arc, and you can't just put it where you need to. Oftentimes, you have to manipulate it. Mm-hmm. And if you see in this one picture here, and I forget for you guys who are podcasting, you're going to have to go and check out the video for this. But there's a bottle jack. That I used, and you just put the bottle jack, the base of the bottle jack on the spring. You put up a nice little piece of 2x4 or 2x8, 2x6, something like that, up by the body, and basically you use the body of the Jeep as your leverage point, and using the bottle jack, you just kind of screw that bottle jack up and extend it out, pressing up against that wood and pressing against the spring, and you can manipulate the arc of the spring with the bottle jack, and giving yourself a little bit more room to work with if you're doing something above the leaf spring mount into the shackle box or something like that. Even this works really well for even replacing leaf springs. So if you are replacing your leaf springs, during a lift or something like that, and you need to manipulate the arch, this is a great way to do it.
Hidden Winds XJ says if it goes smooth, something is wrong.
Yeah, right.
That's one of the reasons why I hate going out to the garage, because if it went right every time, then it wouldn't be such a big deal.
So one thing that did go right, though, during this whole process was the shackle relocation brackets. These are the HD Engineering shackle relocation brackets, and those went together buttery smooth. Installed just like they should, went together perfectly. All the hardware was there. Gave him a quick shot of paint while I was, taking a sip of tea and letting my arm rest after, banging around and torquing so much. And the shackle relocation brackets went in very easily. And so I couldn't be more happier with those as far as the installation process goes. Got that knocked out, that same afternoon. And I have a set of Bilstein 5150 shocks that I was going to put in. I didn't get around to getting those in. There was a transfer case skid plate that I wanted to get in. That didn't go in as well.
Oh, no.
I did take care of some CB issues that I was having. I could hear just fine, but my transmissions were coming out a little bit garbled. So I ended up replacing some coax, tightening up a couple of things, refreshing a ground, and things worked out pretty good. In the slideshow, you can see the shackle relocation brackets from HD Engineering Off-Road, HD Off-Road Engineering rather, and these are awesome. Very adjustable, very heavy duty, made out of 1/4-inch steel all the way around, and really it's a very nice addition. Certainly one of my favorite mods so far as an instant change to the Jeep, the way that it handles and the way that it performs.
Now, Josh, this picture that we've had the shackle relocation bracket up there, there was only one. You can tell it wasn't a problem because you only it's like the good child. You don't take a lot of pictures of the good child.
Yeah, right.
So that one, we put that one up. But now this wonderful picture of the mountain and the skies and the clouds and the green stuff. And how could anybody commit suicide in that part of the country? I just don't see it.
Really, the Pacific Northwest wheeling areas offer some of the most beautiful panoramic scenery that you can possibly imagine. Now, the Rubicon itself is an awesome trail down in California. It has its own spectacular beauty. I'm sure there's tons of beauty out in Arizona and Colorado and everything else like that. But this is the kind of stuff that I go out and wheel for.
Oh yeah.
I love flexing out a Jeep and getting out on the trails and seeing what the vehicles can do and stuff like that. That's fun. But you just don't see these kinds of vistas without getting out and this is postcard type stuff, guys. This You got to come out here to the Pacific Northwest. I'll take you guys up in the mountains. I'll show you some of the stuff. It'll blow your mind.
Now, I was telling you about that camera taking pictures that the Samsung Galaxies, or at least the
Galaxy
the 2.
S5.
Yeah, the 2 was great. So I couldn't imagine it going downhill, and it doesn't look like it did. Yeah, we've got the panoramic shot up there now. It's all squinty though.
Yeah, it's you kind of get that format, but if you were able to zoom in on it, it's really quite sharp still. But yeah, but that was a spot we broke for lunch. Now I gotta stop right here and tell you guys there was an adventure unto itself just getting there. So after I left the house quite late. After everything that I had to do, once I was done working on the Jeep, I mean, I was dirty, I was filthy, I was tired, and I hadn't even packed the Jeep yet, let alone coolers and food and everything else. So all the camping gear had to come out. Everything had to get loaded into the Jeep. And of course, I had to get cleaned up because I knew I wasn't going to be taking a shower for a couple of days. So, it was a mad dash to get everything loaded into the Jeep and cleaned up and get on the road. And I get about, I'm going to say 15 miles away from the house and realize that I forgot my extra fuel cans. I forgot my water can. I forgot a couple other things.
And what was the thing I told you last show?
Don't forget your pillow, Josh. Not only did I forget my pillow once, I forgot my pillow twice because I came back to the house after heading out like 20 miles. I turned around because I actually absolutely had to have extra fuel. And of course, I'm not going to go on a 2-3 day camping trip without water. So I rally back to the house. I grab my fuel cans, load them up onto the roof rack, and I rally back out, forgetting my pillow for the second time and forgetting my water jugs. So I stop into a Safeway really quick, into a grocery store, grab a couple bottles of water, grab a couple protein bars because I hadn't had dinner yet either. And of course, there was only one checker, and I was like 17th in line. So it was like a half hour literally in this grocery store just waiting for my turn, and finally get back into the Jeep, back onto the road. And it's another hour and a half now at this point to get out to where I need to be. Well, the gate for the staging area, for the base camp rather, closes at 10, and by this time it was like 9:30, and I still had another hour and a half to go. No, actually it was about 10:30, and I still had another hour and a half to go, easily. I still had to stop for gas. I had stopped for dinner and stuff like that. The protein bars weren't going to cut it. I didn't actually roll into the Tillamook State Forest area, recreational area, until about 1 o'clock in the morning. By that time, I knew it was way too late. The gates were going to be closed. Before I lost cell service in Banks, Oregon, I went ahead and made a quick phone call out to the buddies who I knew I was going to be wheeling with. Say, hey, I'm not going to make it out there tonight. If you don't see me and I don't make it to the staging area in the morning, this is where I'm going to be. Just wanted to give you guys a head up. Monitor CB channel 4. I'll be on that. I'll be trying to get a hold of you guys as I'm coming down the mountain, and we'll see what happens. So it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm dog tired. The Jeep's loaded up. I'm just absolutely beat. And I knew that there was going to be no way I was going to get into the base camp. So I pull off onto the side of the road into a little culvert area, park the Jeep off, where nobody can see it. I'm not going to set up camp. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to sleep in the Jeep. Well, the Jeep's full of gear, and although it wasn't loaded up like I have it loaded when I'm DJing gigs, there was still quite a bit of gear in there. So I pull out my little 4.5 foot banquet table thing that I have, and that's usually my the base for my kitchen area when I'm camping and stuff like that. I kind of rearrange some gear, throw that up on top of everything, roll out a sleeping bag, and so I spent the night at that point sleeping on top of a 4.5 foot banquet table in about 5.5 feet of cargo space, and I'm 6'3". You do the math.
I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah, that's right. So, it was a horribly uncomfortable sleep. It was like 80-90% humidity. It was just balmy and muggy, and it was just a horrible night's sleep.
I'm never going off road. That's just it. I'm not going.
So I slept I slept like 2 or 3 hours. I woke up, crack of what in the morning, and it's like, okay, well, I got to get on. I got to get to the staging area. I got to get to base camp. I've got to go. So. No coffee, and I think I had a half a bottle of Gatorade left. I downed that really quick, and onto the road I go. And so I've only got about maybe 5 or 10 miles left before I hit base camp. And there's one last little spot of civilization. There's a little spot called Alice's Country Kitchen, and it's really actually a fairly good restaurant. Some of the best bacon I've ever had. And
I'm sorry, did you say bacon or baking?
I did say bacon. I said bacon.
Oh yes.
So
that was made it all worth it right there. For good bacon,
well,
it was all worth it.
No, I'm sorry. There's no happy ending to this one. As I pass the Alice's Country Kitchen, and the base camp is just like another quarter mile past this. As I pass Alice's Country Kitchen, I noticed the metal cloak TJ, and that's my buddy Kelly, and I was like, oh geez, okay, they're down there. And so I flip a Yui in the middle of the road really quick, head down into the driveway, and I go in there. Mind you, I've only been awake for about 5 minutes now at this point, and so I go into the restaurant and find them. And by this time they're done eating. They've already had their coffee. They've already had their breakfast, and they're paying the bill. They're like, "Where the hell have you been?" So I tell them my adventure, up to that point. And they're like, "Well, come on, we got to go. It's time to stage up." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, okay." So no time for coffee, no time for my own bacon. Pop back into the Jeep, head down the road just a little bit more, roll into camp. Quickly unload everything out of the Jeep, load in my tools, spare parts, all the recovery equipment that I'm going to need and everything like that. Grab a little bit of lunch to pack in, throw it in my spare cooler, and off to the staging area I go. Got to take care of registration, so I get my bracelet, I get my stickers, get the number on my windshield and all that stuff. Take care of all that, and off we go. So, I've been up for, all of 15, 20 minutes now, and I'm on the road, and we got about, 20 miles to head up before we get up to the staging area for the driver's meeting. And we've got 12 rigs in our group for that day. And mind you, this is an event that they only accept 100 vehicles. And there was 12 in our group, which is a fairly large group when you're talking about a single group of wheelers heading out on a single trail. And so there was, a large driver's meeting. There was lots of people that had to air down and disconnect and do all that sort of stuff and get ready, final safety check and all that stuff. And I had a little GoPro video that I've, kind of just walked around the entire group really quick, and I air down and do my final checks and everything like that. And off the trail we go. So we hit our up the logging roads about a mile and a half or so. We're you're doing your 10 miles an hour or whatever, and we pull into the first trail, and it's a Yui to get into the trail, and it's a very easy trail. We're in 3 turns of the trail, all of about maybe 75 to 100 yards of trail that we have traversed so far. And there's a CJ5 or CJ7 that ended up snapping both of his spring perches in the rear axle. It took 45 minutes to clear him off the trail and get him into a position where the rest of us could bypass. Called out for a volunteer to go back down to base camp with him to make sure he got there. He basically just disconnected his rear drive line and limped his way back down in front wheel drive back down to base camp. And that was all fine and dandy. We get up to the top of a trail called Cedar Tree. And it's a very technical trail. There's a very, very large, old growth cedar tree in the middle of it that oftentimes people take a big photo op with because there's a huge cutout in the middle of it that if you've got a mildly lifted Jeep or a relatively stock Jeep, you can actually drive under. And everybody loves it, stopping there for a photo op and lunch and everything like that. We hadn't quite gotten to that point yet when we have a Dodge Dakota in our group completely grenade his steering box, dead in the water, no steering response whatsoever. So luckily enough for us, he's in between 2 trees on the trail, and there's a slight little bypass around him. So we get him.
Oh no! So looks like Josh will be back with us here in a moment.
Here I am.
Yeah. So we knew that was bound to happen eventually.
Jeez. So we get onto this trail and we're about halfway through this trail, and this Dodge Dakota ends up grenading his steering box, and he's dead in the water. He's right in between a couple of trees, but there's this little bypass around him that we can get everybody else around him and get on their way. And so we give him a little tug to kind of get him in position. We get the other 9 vehicles out past him, down the rest of the trail off to a logging road. We've got a ham operator in the group. He radios back down to base camp to send a new trail lead up because our trail lead and myself as the tail gunner, we're going to stay behind and make sure that this guy can get off the trail properly. And so we got all that handled. And now it's time to focus on this Dakota, trying to get him off the trail. Now he's got like these 15 and a half inch wide TSL or There's just these monster tires. I think they were pit bull rockers or something like that.
Oh, so now we know why the steering box grenaded.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a lot of rotating mass that has a lot of grip, and it just couldn't take it. So we try and hook up a tow strap to him, and this is a very technical trail. So, and he's got no steering, so we're trying to bump the wheels, pry bars, trying to do anything we can to steer, and it's just not working. There's just too much rotating mass to use manpower. So we hook up all this kind of a little bit of a bridle system with some chain, hook that up to the tow strap, and that worked for a good turn or two, but even that wasn't enough. So we hook up a winch cable from the Dakota back to the Jeep and back over to the Dakota through a snatch block to try and get some degree of turning with winch power onto one of the knuckles. Now, at this point in time, we already had the drag link disconnected, and so basically it's just the two tires connected with the track bar, and that works for about another turn or two. But by about that time, the trail starts to get very, very technical, and it's way too much work to try and use this winch and the tow strap and keep everything in the right geometry to try and make this all work together, and it wasn't happening. He ends up, when the other group got back down to base camp, they radio back up. They're sending up a truck and a trailer for this guy. And these guys make record time getting up to the top of the mountain or up to the where we were. And they've got a couple of come-alongs. Well, one of them has a come-along. We've got a come-along in another vehicle and a third come-along in another vehicle that end up joining this little trio of us trying to get this guy off the trail. So what we end up doing is jimmy rigging these two different come-alongs, one side to one axle or to the leaf spring, over to the one knuckle, from the other side of the frame over to the other knuckle, and myself and this other guy take turns ratcheting, with these come-alongs to try and get the wheels to turn. And, so it's ratchet with one come-along to get the wheels to turn. Okay, now you got to move forward about 2 or 3 feet to unload the traction on the tires, then ratchet them the rest of the way to get the wheels to turn where you need to go to get around the corner, and then move 20 or 30 feet. Okay, now we got to unload the one ratchet strap, load up the other one, move 2 or 3 feet to unload the traction on the tires, ratchet up to get the turn, move 20 or 30 feet. And it's 5 hours of that in, 90-degree weather, very high humidity, very dusty trails. And it was just absolute brutal torture and a lot of very physical work to get this guy off the trail. And, throughout this whole thing, I have to run back 50 to 100 yards, grab my Jeep, rally back up to catch up, back underneath the rig, back onto the ratchet strap, ratchet, turn.
I'm staying home. There's no way. I'm not, I mean, with all the stuff that you went through getting there and then all the stuff you went through, which we're not done with yet. And
no.
Let's take a pause for a second. So, whenever Skype reconnects, there's no video, so I can't go back and forth to the shots. So I need to get you to call back in with a video. So
okay.
We can, I wanted you to be able to finish what you were saying so it wouldn't be so hard to restart.
Okay.
We're actually very lucky we don't have very many technical difficulties because you know how the internet is. You just you never know when it's going to go weird. So let's take another quick pause. So I'll see it in the audio, and we'll continue. You rallied back with your Jeep and the ratchet straps in the 5 hours. So we'll pause and then take it from there.
So after 5 hours of doing all this manual labor to get this guy off the trail. Now, mind you, I've never met this guy before in my life. I've never wheeled him with him before. He's not even a Jeeper. Granted, he's Mopar, so he had that going for him. So, I mean, if he was a Ford, he might have gotten left behind. I don't know. But no, it was, it's just one of those things. He's off-road brethren, and he was in a very critical position to where he was going to be spending a very long night. There's no telling, what it was going to take to get him off the trail. And this needed to be done. And so myself and others that were around, the trail lead and myself, and of course the owner of the vehicle, and then his buddies who showed up with the one come along. all just, went to work on this thing and got him off the trail. It took a lot of work.
It's great that the people were willing to pitch in and there were the right tools, or the tools that could be made to work to get the job done. Now, the picture I'm looking at here now looks like a panoramic view of people in a field sitting in chairs.
So once we finally got him off the trail and onto a trailer, we aired back up and headed back down to base camp, and just enough time to kind of clean up a little bit and head over for some. They serve us dinner. It's usually hamburgers and beans and potato salad, that sort of thing, and it's just one of the perks of paying for your registration for this event. And then there's a raffle, and it's door prizes. Everybody gets something. And there's actually some pretty good stuff. I mean, they gave away a few CBs. There were some shackles in there. There was some recovery equipment. There was a winch at the end. There's some HID lights. I mean, there's lots of gift certificates. Nice. And then a bunch of other little stuff, and I got like a shirt and a little toy semi-truck and a laser pointer, and it was a little grab bag and a shirt that would never fit me in a million years.
I don't know how you were able to pay attention with all those things. I'm surprised that you were you could focus on wheeling after getting the laser, especially.
Well, that picture was taken probably about 7:30 or something like that at night. So I mean, all of our wheeling, or very little of it that we actually got to do that Saturday, was done for the day. And at night, it's repairs and licking your wounds and getting ready for the next day. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I hadn't even set up camp yet at this point,
or had bacon. More importantly,
bacon. Yeah, but I did have dinner. So
good.
So it's after this, it's I got up on the microphone at one point and managed to give a plug to some upcoming events and stuff like that, and then back over to camp and set up my own camp around the. Who I was out here to wheel with and everything, and drinking some beers and telling some stories. And a guy brought a projector, a little generator, and we set up I had my big Easy up, and we set up some tarps and everything like that, and watched some movies from his trip in Moab this last year.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool. Watch some wheeling videos while we're kind of sitting around and getting ready for the next day. The next day rolls around, and it's bright and early. Let's wake up and have some breakfast and although I didn't get any bacon that day either, they serve us breakfast the next morning. So you get a dinner, you get a breakfast, and you get 2 days of wheeling, and not to mention a door prize and a chance to win a winch. Mm-hmm. So the next day, it's eggs and sausage and get your breakfast and get your lunch staged up, and then over to the staging area for the next day. Now, this next day of wheeling was much more aggressive trails. There was only a few people that signed up because of the intensity of the trails, the trail system that we were about to travel.
Okay, so the first day was more of a trail type thing, off-road trail, not really difficult, trees and stuff, but not. Did they have were the trails actually rated or?
Oh yeah, so the way that the way that Oregon rates their trails is the same way that a lot of ski resorts rate their trails. It's easy, moderate, more difficult, and most difficult. Mm-hmm. And the trails that we were going to be running on Saturday were easy to moderate. We might have hit maybe a little bit of one more difficult trail. These are Green Circle, Blue Square, Black Diamond, Double Black Diamond, Triple Black Diamond, that sort of thing. So most of them were going to be Green Circle and Blue Square, maybe a single Black Diamond trail with some bypasses and stuff like that. So, but the Sunday's trails were going to be Black Diamond, Double Black Diamond, and Triple Black Diamond. Gotcha. So these are for the more hardcore, the very experienced wheelers, the people who are that have rigs that are very heavily modified and that are willing to put themselves and their vehicles into harm's way. And obviously there's a very high risk of not only vehicle damage but also personal injury and possible death because of not only of the mountainous terrain that you're in, but also because of the extreme conditions of the trails. And so we make it our way up this one trail called Firebreak 5, and it's a 4-section trail, and each section is harder than the next. And there's a lot of rock, there's a lot of dirt, and it's a fairly technical trail. And when it's wet, it is almost impossible to traverse without, having a lot of seat time and a very well modified rig. And so we had a couple guys join us. One was a new XJ owner. He's a younger kid, probably in his late teens. I'm going to say 19, 20 or something like that, around that age. had just put on a 4.5-inch lift rough country short arm kit with drop brackets, and was enjoying his Jeep. He was actually the second owner. His dad bought that Jeep brand spanking new back in 92 or 93.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, is this the red one?
Yeah, that was the red one.
Okay, that's one up. We got up on the screen right now.
Yep. And throughout the day, I was, really kind of getting a chance to, we're actually wheeling at this point in time, and getting a chance to kind of feel how those shackle relocation brackets were working for me. And I really have absolutely zero complaints, with the exception of one, and this is just more my fault than anything else. And it's just a matter of adjustability. There is a point in which they bind a little bit, and which isn't a big deal, because at that point in time, the leaf springs start to take over and do what they're supposed to do. But I did notice a little bit of a bind at a point at which the shackle actually contacts the shackle relocation bracket, and I'll be taking care of that with just a matter of a small adjustment. So that's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But we make our way through this Firebreak 5 section trail, and we break for lunch. We've got 6 or 7 rigs with us, not a big deal. There's going to be 3 rigs that are going to go into our final area, which is triple black diamond. The area is called Crushers. And it is a massive field of Volkswagen-sized boulders, and it's pretty much pick a line and go. There's not any one trail. You have to go through a filter to get into the area, and then once you're in that area, you have an outer edge that you can traverse, and then a large bowl of, and when I say bowl, I mean probably 100 yards by 250 yards of just nothing but rocks. And when I say rocks, I mean literally anything from like the size, 4 or 5 feet in diameter to, 6 feet in diameter. We break for lunch there and go into that. Now, some of the pictures you're seeing now is a rock area before we get to that point. And it's called, I think it's called the Rock Garden. And I was kind of skipping ahead there when I started talking about Crushers. In Firebreak 5 through between the 3rd and 4th section is this area called the Rock Garden, and we had some fun in there. All the other vehicles kind of stayed off, and then those of us who are a little bit more modified and a little more brave kind of played in these rocks for a little bit, and I got to really put my Cherokee through its paces. And here you guys can see in this one picture the Northwest Metal Cloak TJ. My buddy Eric, who's in a heavily modified CJ7. Which is hardly a CJ anymore. He's probably got a good $50,000 into that vehicle. It is one of the most capable vehicles I've ever seen, and that's what I was riding in the Rubicon with when I went out there last year.
Now that thing has an interesting top on it. That almost looks like a piece of plastic or something he's got on there.
Well, and the Metal Cloak TJ actually has one of the only Jeep lids in existence right now. And Jeep Lid is an up and coming company that is offering this unique product for the TJs, and right now it's only available for the TJs. It is made out of a polyethyl methylene polycarbonate, and it is treated with a hardening agent and a UV protection agent as well, making it not only 100% UVA and UVB protected or resistant, it's also scratch resistant, and it's basically the same exact manufacturing process as the F-16 fighter jet canopies are made out of.
Well, when you say UV protection and fighter pilot, blah, 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 does that mean that you can see through it?
You can see through it. It's 100% see-through, and in this picture, you can't quite see through it because of the camera angle and the glare. But it has very, very good optics, and it actually reduces, if you're in direct sunlight, it reduces the inside temperatures of the Jeep by about 20 degrees.
So you can still get to see outside above like you would if you didn't have the top on, and be a little cooler in the process. Also, too, I guess it keeps the rain off of you.
And bullets. It is bulletproof.
Well, that's always a plus. Anyway, I didn't mean to go too much on a tangent there. It was just obviously something that I hadn't seen before on a Jeep.
Yeah, this is a very unique product. JP Magazine, Peterson's Magazine have called it one of the most innovative Jeep products in the last decade to hit the market. And so if you guys want to learn more about this, just go to jeeplid.com.
That's pretty cool.
But you can see the Metal Cloak TJ playing in the rocks. The red CJ7 took a turn at it next. And then I went at it as well and had some fun with my XJ in those rocks, and it did very, very well. Last year I played on these rocks, and it was a little bit bumpy, And honestly, the shackle relocation brackets made all the difference in the world.
Oh, that's great to hear, because I've actually got a set of those things now, not from the manufacturer you got them from, but from Iron Man Andy, ironman4x4.fab.com, one of our advertisers on xjtalk.com. Well, Josh, I think we're going to have to roll this into next week. We're running short on time.
Good stuff.
I know. I mean, there was some interesting stuff there to start with, and things are going smooth here.
I'm really flying through this stuff pretty fast. I know we were kind of short on time. I was trying to fit all of this into this one, but
no.
I mean, really, it's a full weekend worth of wheeling and a big adventure, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get to it all. So I guess we're going to have to
it's a great story. I think we ought to extend this thing out to the next show and not rush through it. Actually, have the hopefully at some point you have bacon, and if not, throw that in there. And but wow, glad you're back home, and obviously you are. Well, you're not still out there, right? You didn't set up the mic. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm back home, thankfully. I still haven't shaved yet, and I'm in need of a haircut. But no, outside of that, it was an epic journey. And guys, like I said, I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. So tune in next week for part 2 of Josh's wheeling adventure up in the Tillamook State Forest.
And we'll have some pictures of the laser or something, I'm sure, in next week's show. Hey, Josh, let's get over to our voicemails before we wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Hey, this is Tony.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your first name and your question or comment.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Hey, this is Nikki G. Just opened up my mail, and I've got a letter in it from Ford. It says recall notice. So I was pretty excited because I drive a 92 Ford Ranger, and I'm kind of hoping the paint on it is recalled because it needs a new paint. But open it up, find out it's not my Ranger. It's Wendy's 2008 Escape has got a recall. And I'm going to read it to you guys on the air because I think it'll make an interesting podcast. It says safety recall notice 14S05. Says this notice applies to your vehicle, 2008 Escape, vehicle number, blah, blah, blah. It says this notice is sent to you in accordance with the requirements of National Traffic and Motor Vehicle Safety Act. Ford Motor Company has decided that a defect which relates to your motor vehicle exists in your vehicle with the vehicle number shown above. We apologize for the situation and want to assure that you, with your assistance, we will correct this condition. Our commitment together with your dealer is to provide you with the highest level of service and support. They left out the part of robbing you of all your money.
Oh, yeah.
On your vehicle, the power steering system may revert to manual steering mode due to an electric power steering system fault related to the torque sensor. An unexpected loss of steering assist while driving would require higher steering effort at lower vehicle speeds, which may increase the risk of accident. So it's pretty much like if your power steering belt broke on your old 55 Chevy. You know how you'd have to manually man it over. But so that's interesting. So I'm going to take it to the dealer tomorrow and see what they say. So I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't on my Ranger, particularly with the paint, or I was hoping maybe the seat got recalled because there's a spring poking me in my butt on that. But anyhow, all right, guys, I'll chat you later. Goodbye.
Well, yeah, we could always hope, but my 98 Jeep had a recall on it for the airbag, and
that's an important one.
Yeah, I had a parts store driver make a U-turn right smack in front of me. I have some pictures of it somewhere. And I locked the 32s up, and everybody turned to look when they heard that noise, and just T-boned him. No airbag. So,
oh man,
which is good because I got like $700 out of that one. and didn't have really any damage. Already, it didn't have the bumper that I had either now, because I'm sure I wouldn't have had any damage then. So we got one more from Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and I just want to take a second to talk to the youth of America and congratulate them on figuring out how to raise their vehicle 10 inches and put those god-awful, ugly 50-inch rims on it with the little teeny tiny rubber band tires. It's definitely not my style, but you guys, generation made the style all your own, and I congratulate you for it. But now that you've learned how to lift your vehicle, I think it's time that you guys learn to lift your pants. Only your beloved loved ones should know the answer to boxers or briefs, not the guy in line behind you at Arby's. You know why there's so many inner city youth in jail? It's because you guys can't run from the cops with your pants around your ass like that.
Jeez.
The police aren't picking on you. You're just easy pickings.
Just easy to catch.
All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Have a good day.
You know, cops are having extra helpings of donuts because they know they can catch these guys without much effort. That's great. Thanks a lot for calling in, Nikki G. We really appreciate it. Oh, Josh, I don't know. For some strange reason, and I don't know why, I think we're both guilty of this, I didn't think that we would have enough to talk about to fill an hour. Why is it that I always think that, and it's never the case?
You know, I started getting nervous. You were sending me, some time marks and stuff, and I'm like, 47 minutes already? I'm barely to the halfway point. Are you kidding me? You know, and it's like, I'm picking up the pace as I'm getting these time marks, it's like, 27 minutes, 41 minutes, 47 minutes, and I'm getting faster and faster and faster, trying to get more information to the story, it's just like,
Well, I thought about it, and I said, well, this is silly because he's going to really have to rush through the rest of this, and it's the end part that I think is going to be the most interesting. And I'll throw people a bone. Josh wishes that he had installed some of that stuff he didn't install before he went up. So
let's just say we're saving the best for last. You guys are going to get to hear about some carnage that I suffered.
Carnage, no carny, no bacon, but carnage. Yes.
Oh, in the meantime, guys, as you can tell, everybody's got a wheeling story to tell. We'd love to have you guys on the show to tell your own wheeling story. Go ahead and drop us a line at 530-675-4102. That's 530-675-4102. And we'll get you on the air. And, Tony and I will both give you a little interview, kind of like what Tony's doing to me, about your own wheeling adventures.
Yep. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being part of the show. Really appreciate the folks coming to the live show, which is every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central Time on youtube.com/xjtalk. You should go over there and subscribe. And I think that you can actually put a little reminder whenever you see the live event come up, and it will notify you so that you don't miss it and you can come to our live show.
Yep, I'll post up some of these pictures that you guys are seeing on our Facebook page. Make sure you guys are heading over there and befriending us there. We're on Twitter. Make sure you're following us. Stitcher Radio, TuneIn.com, iTunes, and, of course, YouTube for our live shows. And the entire show archive available for your free downloading pleasure over at xjtalkshow.com.
So you guys have a great Jeep week, and catch us next week with more fun with Josh's Jeep.
See you guys then. Take care.
Okay, stop that. Press the little button. Start her back up. So, switching gears here a little bit, let me tell you about this before I forget. I remembered finally, after scouring through some emails, how we were doing voicemail for the Tony and Josh show. It was a free voicemail service, and I had forgot that they clearly state that if you don't use it for 30 days, you may lose it. Well, we lost it.
Dang.
I went to go sign up for a new one, and they say no numbers available.
What?
Yeah. So, it's a free service, and it's one of the better ones. So, we'll have to figure out something else for voicemails. We probably don't want to tell people to call in because somebody's getting calls and they're probably laughing, but they don't know who this Nikki guy is.
Yeah, right. I was going to say they're getting some Nikki G voicemails like, who the hell is this guy? Mm-hmm. Why does he keep calling us?
And what is this Tony and Josh show he's talking about?
Exactly.
Hey, we might actually get a few more viewers or listeners through that. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't want to try to rush you, but I did want to kind of give you an idea of where we were, because I know how it is once you either one of us gets to talking, you get involved in the story and time really becomes meaningless. So wanted to try to hit that hour mark as close as we could, and there was just no sense in trying to cram another 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour's worth of fun into 5 minutes. It was just going to be horrible.
Well, and I'll have some. There's a few more photos that I haven't uploaded that will actually be perfect for this. It'll actually work out quite well, and you guys will get to see what this Crushers area looks like, and it's going to blow your mind that Jeeps were actually able to go through this kind of stuff. But obviously, you need a very, very heavily modified Jeep to get into this kind of a trail system. So, but you guys will get a sneak peek at that, and you'll get to see the kind of abuse that a Jeep lid can take. And some other things as well. So, and I don't know if we'll be able to actually make it happen or not, but maybe we can figure out a way to get you guys to see some of that video of me going through some of those rocks.
I was watching a few of them that you put up on Google Plus, and I couldn't help but notice that antenna striking the top of your hood because of the rocking action, the harmonics that we're getting as you were going over those rocks. So anyway, to answer Hidden Wounds XJ question here, yeah, I believe it was a Fiverr. Actually, that Jeep is my Jeep, and I made it black so that we could put it on Josh's title bar, and since he drives a black Jeep, and I think what it was actually from was I was trying to get a logo for the show. And I had a couple of them try, and neither one of them came up with anything that I really liked. And in fact, this is kind of I embellished this one. I thought this was one of the rather good ones. I think the only thing here that I used was the Jeep, and then there was another one that I pulled the Jeep off of, which is what you see on our title bars. But yes, they were both Fiverrs, so you're looking at $10 worth of work there.
Yeah, very cool.
And let's see. Well,
going to be a pretty easy promo to record tonight, Tony.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should go ahead and record one, but it'll be one subject.
Yeah, I was going to say
there's lots to say about that, though, and even the part 2 aspect of it.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll just kind of go back and forth, maybe just one line a piece. Here, I'll start typing in some stuff. I think we might be able to make something work here.
Well, that was just beautiful, beautiful country up there. You know, if I had a tow rig and a trailer, that'd be a lot of fun to come out there and just drive through all that stuff.
Oh, Tony, you would love it up here. Just spending a weekend and coming up and getting to see some of these vistas. Just spectacular scenery. I mean, the pictures are nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm actually very, very much impressed with the photographic capabilities of the Galaxy S5. But even with that, these pictures just don't do it justice.
Oh no, of course not. But it certainly helps when you have nice pictures or have a nice camera to take pictures with. And it's just amazing to me the technology has been put into these things, where the lens is so small, and yet it's able to capture all this stuff. I'm sure they're doing it with computing power and good optics, of course, but it does have limitations, but it's amazing what it can do. And I think you'll find on the videos that it takes that they're very nice.
And I'm not even really utilizing a big part of the camera's capabilities of this phone. I mean, it can do all sorts of things that I haven't even really bothered trying yet. The panoramic view is one that I'm just starting to mess around with, and I've got the quality settings pretty much dialed in, but there's a lot more this camera can do.
I put a 32 gig card in mine, and I put the settings to the highest it will go.
I need to put a bigger card in this one. I think I've only got like an 8 gig in here, and so I'm gonna have to buy some memory.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know what it is right now, but I bought most of mine from Amazon, and I paid like $25 for class 10 micro SDs. So
yeah, that's what I need to get.
You could probably, you may check and make sure the phone will support it, but you can probably get a 64 for $35. 64 gig. I've never had a problem with the 32s, and I keep all these podcasts, all of our podcasts, a bunch of other ones that I subscribe to. Dan's 4x4 podcast. They come off when I listen to them, but they've really been stacking up. I think I'm like 3 episodes behind on our podcast.
I'm 2 episodes behind. Well, no, I take that back, because I have listened to a little bit of the last one, but I haven't gone through all of it yet, and then I haven't listened to all the one before that.
Oh, I didn't want to derail you while you were talking about your story, at least not too much. I was going to ask you about, did you tell anybody out there on the trail about the show, about XJ Talk? Or
Yeah, I actually handed out a few, because there wasn't very many XJs out there. This group is primarily CJs and TJs, with a smattering of JKs, and really the entire group, out of 100 vehicles, there were 3 XJs.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, it's good you're out there representing.
Well, yes. Last year there were more. The year before that there was even more. So they seem to be dropping off, and I don't know if it's just because there's less and less of the same kind of ilk. I don't know. But I was one of the few XJs. I was certainly one of the. I was probably the most built XJ out there.
Was there any 2014 Cherokees?
No. No, there's
shocking.
I know, right?
There would be a camera crew, a dolly, and a 2014 Cherokee.
And somebody out there with a chamois just go, "Oh, you got it dirty. Hold on."
Touch up. We need some touch up paint over here. We kid the 2014 Cherokee, but we love it. I'm gonna crush one if we can. You know what's fun, Josh? Trying to make the bolt on the harmonic balancer tight, even if you put the belt on. There is not enough oomph to hold that thing in place. So I finally got a crowbar in there and was able to tighten it up. I'm going to wait a few days and check it and see if it's loose at all, and then I think the bolt could completely come out of it and it'd be fine for quite a while, as much as as hard as it is to push it on there. But I really don't have to look for that bolt. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the little bit different format of just the talk about Jeeps and stuff, and the fun that Josh had with his. And we'll continue this next week. I think we probably have enough to fill the next show with all the fun. I would assume you'd want to take a few minutes to recap, and then get back into the story. So not too long, just a few minutes, and then we'll finish up, and you'll get to hear all the fun stuff that Josh had to go through, and his trip home, and and if he had bacon or not. I want to find out about that. I don't give it away, and but you can't go to a place where there's good bacon and not have some bacon. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to let you guys go on with your night, and Josh and I are going to do our little promo and get on to our night. So everybody have a great night. Thank you very much for being here on the live show. Thank you for watching us on the recorded YouTube segment, if that's what you're doing. And don't forget, the primary thing is the audio podcast. And the whole reason for the audio podcast is xjtalk.com, one of the most premier Jeep Cherokee sites on the internet.
Yep. Guys, until then, make sure you keep the rubber side down and tune in next week. You guys don't want to miss out.
Nope.